So good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you. I'm CA Anirudh Rathi. First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to be an MOC, that is Master of the Conference, for today's VCM, that is Virtual CPE meeting. Also, it's a great pleasure and honor for me to pronounce that today we are joined for a VCM, that is Virtual CPE meeting on standards on auditing, in which today's topic would be the best practices for audit documentation organized by Pune branch of WIRC of ICAI. Most importantly, we are having CA Praveen Kaushik sir with us, who is a speaker for today's VCM on the topic standards on auditing, as already mentioned before. Now it's my absolute pleasure to give you a brief introduction about our today's speaker, CA Praveen Kaushik sir. Well, Praveen sir, talking about his professional experience, he has over 14 years experience in providing valuation and business advice to both private as well as public sector. He specializes in Indian accounting standards, that is Indian AS, IFRS advisory, assurance, and IPO advisory services, and has good knowledge of IFRS and IGAAPs and standards on auditing. He also specializes in gap conversion, that is conversion of IGAAP financials into IFRS and US GAAP. He has actually in different capacities and roles. He also specializes in valuation and has immense experience and knowledge in the business valuation, equity valuations, intangible assets valuation, purchase price allocations, etc. Sir Praveen sir, before starting his own practice in 2019, has worked with international accounting firms such as GT, EY, and BDO for more than 12 years. He is a regular speaker on Indian accounting standards, IFRS, IGAAPs, valuations, and accounting standards in following institutions and entities, namely NTPC Limited, ICAI, ICSI, MET University, and so on. And talking about his major projects he had conducted during his professional career, so he has conducted statutory and internal audits, IPO advisory, IFRS and US GAAP conversions, valuations, IFRS Indian AS, that is Indian Accounting Standards training. So it is absolute pleasure to have you, sir. And now,
Thank you, Anirudh.
yes, sir, yes, sir. And I kindly request sir to proceed further on his today's VCM topic, that is the best practices for audit documentation. Over to you, CA Praveen Kaushik, sir.
Thank you. Thank you again, Anirudh. And thank you to all. Thank you and congratulations to all committee members of Pune branch to organize a wonderful session on such a important topic, that is audit documentation. So, and very good evening, namaskar to all participants who spared time from their busy schedule to deliberate on this issue. So before starting my today's topic, before starting deliberation on audit documentation, I would like to request to all the participants to make this session as interactive as it can be. So I would request everyone to give responses in chat box whenever they are asked. So before going into deliberations, I would like to understand the participants' understanding about audit documentation. What audit documentation is, what actually we mean when we are saying that we are talking about audit documentation. So what are the expectations of participants from me particularly, or what are their expected key takeaways? So participants, dear fellow professionals, please quickly mention on the chat. I am looking at the chats. So kindly give give your understanding about audit documentation and your expectations. Please quickly in 2 minutes. So you guys need not to mention your membership numbers. So when you would have registered yourself, you have provided your membership number. So CPRs will be provided without any doubt. So kindly tell me the thing which I have asked for. So what do you mean by audit documentation? What is the journal understanding and meaning of audit documentation? Participants, please. Maintaining audit working papers in accordance with accounting auditing standards. Very good, Suresh ji. Audit documentation for SMEs. Okay, Siddharth ji. Preferably documentation expectation for SMEs and SME clients. Okay, I do understand that in mediocre CFMs, we are having SME clients more than in comparison to big clients, meeting performance standards. Okay. Anyone else? Sport opinion, okay. Okay. So what I am able to gather from the responses I got from the participants, that audit documentation means to convey audit and some documents, proof, not documented, not done, appointment letter, scope of audit. Very good. So what I am able to gather from the responses which I got from the participants is that audit documentation means a set of records or documents which supports our opinion as an auditor, first of all. So it is a set of records and documents. So whenever we are referring audit documentation, that it means that we are discussing about some underlying records or documents. So record can be something which has been prepared by the auditor. Records can be some documents or records gathered by the auditor during the audit procedure. And why they are important? What is the importance of audit documentation? So one of my fellow professional has mentioned that not documented means not done. So this is very, very good. In auditing, we used to say work not documented means not done. So suppose you are reviewing work of your subordinates and you ask them, boss, have you seen the secretarial records or minutes of meeting of board of directors of the company held during the year? And the subordinate says to you, yes, sir, I have seen. So what is the next question you would ask? Okay, where is the work paper? Where is the evidence that you have seen? So if the subordinate is not able to answer, or if it is not able to show you, so whether he has gone through the minutes of meeting or not, so how would you say that minutes of meetings of the board of directors have been reviewed by the audit team? So basically you cannot, since there is no corroborative evidence in hand with you as an auditor to say that minutes of meeting have been reviewed and seen by us. And I have taken a very simple example of minutes of meeting and why minutes of meeting is important to read. So basically, if you are auditing a big client, then many of the decisions are taken by board collectively, be it regarding borrowing, be it regarding expansion, be it regarding establishing a new plant, so on and so forth. When you are auditing a SME client particularly, so there are lots of decisions which are taken by the promoters itself. And many times I particularly have seen that they have obtained a borrowing, they have opened a bank account, they have done various things during the year, the SME client particularly. So they have resolutions for that. So basically, because bank will not open an account if you don't give them board resolution. So board resolution was there, but there was no minutes of meetings which can which can be seen to corroborate that, okay, our real board meeting was happened on that day. So many times I particularly have seen that there are resolutions on different days, as many as on 20 days in a year. So whenever a resolution is passed, it means a board meeting has happened. So the board has, in my case, the board had met 20 times in that year. One time to raise loan, one time to open account, one time to do that, one time to do that. Okay, but when they filed their AOC 4 and MGT 7, as the case may be, they have mentioned that they have met only 4 times. So basically, only 4 dates were provided in MOC forms regarding board meetings. So now you can understand the severity. So there were resolutions on 20 different dates, but they have informed ROC that they have met only 4 times in a year. So now you can understand how inconsistency is there. So audit documentation helps you in such cases. So if you have reviewed all the resolutions passed by the company, then you would have asked them, boss, as per the resolution passed by you and provided to us, you are supposed to meet 20 times in a year. So kindly provide us minutes of meeting of all such meetings. And particularly in SME, believe me, you will never get minutes of meeting. You will get, if they are very good promoter and the company is very good at documentation, then you will be provided with 4 MOMs, which are mandatory as per the act, and other meetings or meetings convened for other matters will not be provided to you. So this is the importance of the audit documentation. So I am giving you my example to build upon the earlier example. So there was an inquiry by GST enforcement department or intelligence department on that client. Okay, so the board has authorized one of a chartered accountant to represent them in front of the GST authorities. So they have given authority letter duly backed by the board resolution. So the GST, when the chartered accountant, who is happened to be my friend, and that is also my client, when the chartered accountant went to GST authorities, he said, okay, I am the authorized representative, so I will be taking care of the cases. And the GST authority asked several questions, he answered, and when they required the statutory registers or such other documents of the company, so then there was a problem. So basically, when the resolution was passed, say that it is passed on such a particular date, say that is on 7th of February 2021 for that matter, okay, but no meetings, no minutes of meetings were maintained at that time. So the GST authorities literally questioned the authenticity and authority of the chartered accountant who was representing the case, and they literally threatened to initiate 420 proceedings against the chartered accountant and the company. So it may be an extreme case. In the normal life, it doesn't happen, but it contains risk. So that is all the idea to maintain audit documentation. So now, many times we have seen that chartered accountants start their audit before getting engagement letter executed by the client. Okay, and many times it happens. Recently, I have been inquired by one of a very senior chartered accountant that, boss, I have been approached by a company to start the audit, but the previous auditor is not giving NOC and is not and has not given resignation. So what to do? The AGM has passed. The management or the company has gone to the regional directorate to remove the auditor. So the application is pending with RD. Can I start audit? So I simply mentioned him, sir, no, you cannot. because you have not been appointed, no casual vacancy occurred. Since the auditor has not resigned, so there is no case of casual vacancy, so you cannot start the audit. So now you please understand the importance of audit documentation. Had the auditor, the new one who was inquiring with me, started their audit, what would have happened? So that all such audit transactions would have been futile. So audit documentation are the records which helps a chartered accountants in times of difficulties. So recently, you must be agree with me on this point. Recently, particularly in last 6-7 years, we have seen that many chartered accountants have been jailed by the government authorities. So why? Because they were unable to produce audit documentation to prove their point. So they were not able to prove that they have done their work diligently, they have done their work with due care. So recently, I was reading somewhere 2-3 months back that Hari Bhakti and Company has been, it is a very big firm located based in Mumbai. So you are aware that Hari Bhakti and Company has been blacklisted by RBI for 2 years to conduct audit of any entity which is governed by RBI. So now you can understand the consequences of it not having proper documentation. So all of the big firms are facing such problems. So they are on verge of getting blacklisted. Some have been already blacklisted. Some are under process. So, and even though they are known for their best documentation, and since I have been with those firms with 12 years, so I can vouch for that. That at least I am not commenting upon audit quality. I am not commenting upon anything else. But the audit documentation, at least they are having with them. So even if they were having audit documentations, still they are facing problems. So the importance of audit documentation is very, very high. So work not documented means not done. So many times it happens. So we know the promoters, the directors calls us many times, boss, यार आपने अपने बच्चे भेज दिए हैं, वो दुनिया भर की इंफॉर्मेशन मांग रहे हैं, आपको तो पता ही है यार, हमारे पास अकाउंटिंग स्टाफ भी प्रॉपर नहीं है, कंपनी सेक्रेटरी भी नहीं है, हम दे देंगे ना आपको जो चाहिए, आप ऑडिट साइन करो, हमें बैंक को देनी है, हमारे अब बैंक वाला मांग रहा है, उसका कौन करंट ऑडिट चल रहा है, उसका ये चल रहा है. Many times it happens, and literally we chartered accountants, including me, are many times signing balance sheet on face value, which is really not advisable and a good and healthy practice to follow. So I would urge my fellow chartered accountants, particularly who are auditors, to be very, very aware about audit documentation and keep records of whatever is being done by them. So this is the preamble of audit documentation, and now I am sharing the PPT. Is it visible, boss, to everyone?
Visible.
Okay. So we all know that there is a particular essay, that is essay 230, which talks about documentation. So there is a formal definition of audit documentation, but believe me, whatever is written has already been discussed by you and me, that what is audit documentation, what do we generally mean by it. So what are the contents of today's discussion? Audit documentation, model audit work paper, that is what are the do's, what are the don'ts, response to memos and checklists. In many cases, many firms are having their standard documentation for audit. So I would suggest you to have a standardized set of audit work papers within your firm, so that if a different person is carrying out audit of a different entity, he does not take lenient view. So I would suggest you guys to have a standardized form of working papers, then checklists. So there are various checklists which are available with the ICAI, that is Accounting Standard Checklist, or statutory requirements checklist, secretarial checklist. So many things are there. Then closure of review notes, closure of issues, workflow, ground rules of audit documentation, and other important points. So these are the contents upon which I will be deliberating, but I would request you guys to kindly, share your queries, your thoughts. So basically, because all are chartered accountants, all are learned professionals. So I am having nothing new to tell you. You are already equipped, maybe better than me. So it would be, learning experience for me also if you are sharing your live examples where you have seen such a cases. So try to make it interactive. So let's start with the definition which has been provided in SA 230 revised. Audit documentation is the record or evidence of what? We have already discussed that whenever we are saying audit documentation, then we means a set of documents, Excel sheets, physical papers, working papers, whatsoever you can call them, is the record or evidence of what? Audit procedures performed. And you can see something in parenthesis, which is including audit planning. So many times I particularly have seen that I am a peer, I am a empaneled peer reviewer also. So recently I was doing peer review of a firm based in Jaipur. So what I observed that they were having audit working papers for each and every area. So suppose the client which I selected to carry out my review was manufacturing client. So it was that firm's client. Okay. So because the concept of peer review, that I was the auditor of the audit firm. So what I observed that they were having excellent working papers. So whatever area I wanted to dig in, they were having working papers. But there was no working paper regarding audit planning. Means when I am saying audit planning means what? There was no working paper which could help me to identify what is the nature, timing, and extent of audit procedures performed by the entity, first of all. Second, what were the risk areas, significant areas which have been identified by the auditor to work upon, and then who is doing what was the mix of audit team, whether the audit was conducted by article assistant or whether the audit was conducted by a qualified chartered accountant, what were the roles and responsibilities and accountability of different team members. So there were no documents available or working paper available which could throw light upon the audit planning part. So the execution was perfect. So suppose I wanted to see the work paper related to purchases or inventory. So they were having, okay, boss, we have done vouching of 200 purchase bills or purchase invoices. That is okay. The execution part was fine, but there were no working paper which could support their audit planning. So the audit documentation are the audit procedures performed including audit planning. And internationally, it is said that out of total audit time, suppose you decided that you will complete a particular audit in 15 days. Okay. So as per internationally accepted norms, 9 days, that is 60% of 15 days, should go into planning. 40% is the execution. So because if the planning is perfect, so then the execution would also be perfect. Otherwise, it would be like that, okay, we are doing vouching, and we are not reaching at a conclusion for that matter. So 60% of audit time should go into planning. This is as per the internationally accepted norms. So again, it is based on your judgment. You can vary. This is not the hard and fast guideline, but this is something which the international standard setters promulgates. Then relevant audit evidences. So when I am saying relevant audit evidence is obtained, what do I mean particularly? So we all are aware that chartered accountants are supposed to give their opinion upon the fairness and trueness of the financial statements. Okay, so how could you say that the financial statements are free from material misstatements? Only when you get the audit evidences. So audit evidences is again a different matter. So there is a separate essay on audit evidence which talks about the types of audit evidences, the quality of audit evidences. So I am not going into it, but audit documentation is a record of audit procedures performed, including planning, relevant audit evidence is obtained, and conclusions the auditor reached. What does it mean, the conclusion the auditor reached? So one can argue, boss, if I do have my planning paper with me, I do have the audit work paper with me, I do have the relevant sufficient appropriate audit evidence is obtained by me, then what does this conclusion means? What does this conclusion means? So the conclusion means, suppose during the audit you have been encountered with certain situations where you were of the view that okay, the financial statements are materially misstated, okay, the inventory is not or the valuation of inventory is not as per the accounting standards. So if such a situation, then how you responded to that situation? So suppose, let me tell you, you sent direct confirmation to a certain set of debtors. So one of the debtor responded with say that is with different balance. So your client was showing that मुझे इस बंदे से 2 लाख रुपए लेने हैं, 10 लाख रुपए लेने हैं, और जब आपने डायरेक्ट कंफर्मेशन भेजी उस डेटर को, द डेटर रेस्पोंडेड विद दैट आई डोंट ओ एनीथिंग टू दिस पार्टी. ओके, व्हाट डज इट मीन? जो वो 10 लाख या 2 लाख रुपए बोल रहा है आपका क्लाइंट की मुझे फला आदमी से लेने हैं, और द काउंटर पार्टी इज सेइंग दैट आई डोंट ओ एनीथिंग टू यू टू दैट पार्टी. व्हाट डज इट मीन? So it means that there is a difference between the statement given by the company and the direct confirmation from the third party. So this is the situation which many of us would have encountered with. So what is your response to do? What would you do in this case? You will inquire further, you will dig deeper, you will see, okay, there can be the chances that the client has raised invoices and the client has sold some goods, or the client has raised invoices, but the goods or invoices have not reached to the counterparty on time. Say that is on 31st March. So that is why there is a difference. Or the counterparty has made a payment on 31st of March, which has not credited into the bank account of your client. So the situation was there, your response was there, and then your conclusion. So the two examples which I gave were very simplest form of the example. Means I was saying your client is I am saying that your client is honest. What does I mean? Say भाई इसको 10 लाख लेने हैं. प्रॉब्लम क्या रही? इसने तो बिल काट दिया, सामने वाले ने रिपोर्ट नहीं किया, या सामने वाले ने पेमेंट कर दी, आपके बैंक में नहीं है. ये एक रीजन हो सकता है. These are the reasons which I am saying the client is honest. But अगर आप अपने further processes में भी suppose you have applied further audit procedures and still you are not able to find out the reasons which are satisfactory, what would you do? What would you do? Then the conclusion you reach would be that this 10 lakh rupee debtor does not exist. And what does it mean? It means that the sales of 10 lakh rupee is not real. So I am just trying to give you the example. Okay. So if you concluded by doing further audit procedures, okay, the sale is real, the debtor is real, the debtor exists, so there are the reasons, and you definitely mention the reasons in your work paper. But even upon doing certain extra procedures, you are not able to get satisfactory evidences, then what conclusion would you reach? The conclusion you reach would be that so and so party does not exist, which in return means that the sale has been overstated by 10,000 rupees. Now, whether this 10 lakh rupee is material or not, that is the subject of your judgment, and the materiality you have calculated for that particular assignment, that is a subject matter. But suppose if the total sale is 80 lakh rupees, or say that is 1 lakh 20 lakh rupees only, 1 crore 20 lakh rupees only, and 10 lakh rupees you have identified that okay, this data does not exist, this sale is not real, what would be your conclusion? Your conclusion would be that the financial statements are not free from material misstatements, or the financial statements are materially misstated. So you can say in whether in affirmative or negative statement, it is up to you, but this is the case. So your audit documentation should or I must say that it must give such sense that what audit procedures were performed. When I am saying audit procedure performed, so let's build upon my case. What audit performance you what audit procedures you have performed? First, you have sent direct confirmation to the debtors. Second, when there were differences between the balances as per books of account of your client and as per the direct confirmation received by you, then what further procedure you performed? You performed, say that is bank reconciliation statement, or the gate outward register you have checked. Okay, यार इसके यहाँ से तो माल 31 तारीख को निकल गया, अब ऑब्वियसली उसके पास तो 2-3 को पहुंचेगा, उसने अपनी परचेज रिकॉर्ड नहीं करी होगी, तो ठीक है, it is a genuine reason. So you might ask the client to classify this sale as goods in transit, not as a sale. So these are the further audit procedures which have been performed. So in this case, direct confirmation, bank reconciliation, or say that is checking of gate outward register as on 31st March, or any other procedure which you may deem fit in that condition. Then relevant audit evidence is obtained. So suppose आपका जो ऑडिट जो गेट आउटवर्ड रजिस्टर है उसमें एंट्री हो रखी है कि फला नंबर ट्रक में इस ई वे बिल के साथ इस क्लाइंट ने 31 मार्च को ये माल फला पार्टी को बेचा है, तो ये ट्रक निकल गया 31 मार्च को, एंड नाउ यू गेट कंफर्मेशन फ्रॉम दी पार्टी कि बॉस 4, 5, 6 अप्रैल को आपको ये माल मिल गया क्या? इफ द पार्टी कंफर्म्स यस आई हैव रिसीव्ड these goods, so what does it mean? That you have obtained sufficient appropriate evidence to support that 10 lakh rupees sale by the client. Okay, and third is conclusion. What do you mean by conclusion? Conclusion means okay, the 10 lakh rupees sale is real and the party in real exists. So this is the example you can understand. I gave the example for a practical example for better understanding. Now you can understand the audit documentation, the meaning, and this definition includes everything of audit documents, which we will be discussing later on. So now the second important definition which has been given in SA 230 is audit file. So we all know that audit file is one or more folder or other storage media in physical or electronic form. So nowadays many of the chartered accountant firms are doing their audit online. So particularly in pandemic situation, we conducted almost all the audits in online mode. So we got all the information, all the ledgers on mails, and then we we send them observations, they replied. So to and fro happened at that time. So anything, it can be in electronic form, so there is no bar on it, containing the records that comprise the audit documentation for a specific engagement. So when I am saying audit file, it means audit file is a folder which contains audit documentation first. Second, it has to be for a particular client or engagement. Third, it has to be for a particular period. So you cannot manage your audit file in such a manner that ABC Limited statutory audit for the period of for the financial year 2019-20 ये फाइल में है, फिर उसी फाइल को स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिट फॉर द पीरियड फॉर द फाइनेंशियल ईयर 2021 या 17-18 ऐसे आप नहीं कर सकते हैं. यू हैव टू मेंटेन डिफरेंट ऑडिट फाइल फॉर डिफरेंट स्पेसिफिक एंगेजमेंट्स. So this is again a very important. So audit file is nothing. It is a folder which contains audit documentation for a particular specific assignment. Now, why documentation is important? So we are talking about audit documentation. It is important. Is it important? But why it is important? So internal reviews means if you are partner of your firm, or if you are working in an audit firm as a manager or as a subordinate. So in both the situation, either you are reviewing the work of subordinates or your work is getting reviewed by your seniors. So if you did not make any work paper, if you did not collect any audit evidences, how would you say कि मैंने ये audit कर लिया, ये area मैंने audit कर लिया और ये ठीक है? जैसे I gave you the example. So if the audit subordinate or the audit manager has not prepared synopsis of minutes of meetings, or has not taken, say that is soft photocopies of minutes of meeting, so how could he say that I have read audit minutes of meetings? So it is very important to get your work reviewed, or to review your work, or to review work of your subordinates. So internal reviews, it is very important. Firm policies. So when I am saying firm policies, what does it mean? So if you are subject to peer review by ICAI, then there is a questionnaire which you need to fill to send to the institute and the peer reviewer. Boss, what are the policies of the firm regarding audit documentation? How we are maintaining audit documentation? Whether we are maintaining them in soft copy or in files, or what are the procedures you have applied as a firm for quality control, or to justify the opinions issued by you during the review period. So firm policies. Third, applicable professional standards. So we all are know that SA 230 talks about audit documentation, and we are currently deliberating upon it. Third, regulatory and legal requirement, that is NAFRA, SEBI review. If you are auditing listed companies, so then you are subject to review by NAFRA, that is National Financial Reporting Authority, a newly formed authority, SEBI for listed companies. And then there can be quality review board of ICAI. We all are aware that quality review board is a joint board of ICAI and MCA, ROC, MCA we can say. So you are always subject to them. And in many cases, we have seen that once any particular, any fraud happens or whatever happens, auditors are the scapegoats which are caught first. The promoters are enjoying bail, they are roaming around here and there, but the chartered accountant is in jail. So if you are not aware of it, then take the example of chartered accountant of Misa Bharti, daughter of Lalu Prasad Yadav. She got bail. I believe she was not jailed even, and if she was jailed, then she got bail within 10-15 days. But the chartered accountant who was handling her books of account, he is still in jail, and I believe it's more than 5-6 years now. So now you can understand, if the documentation is not proper, then you are open to severe consequences. Third, professional bodies, just like peer review by ICAI. I have given example. I am a peer reviewer. I am doing peer review of other firms also, and I am currently getting my firm peer reviewed by another reviewer. And believe me, that reviewer is asking for various documents which may or may not be there. and then I felt the real heat. Okay, it is very easy to preach, it is very easy to ask documents from other firms, but when it comes to you, then many times there are no documentations, or the documentation made by you. So be aware, dear friends, about the importance of audit document. These are the what I should say, these are the Sanjeevani booty for chartered accountants in डिफिकल्ट टाइम्स. जब कभी कोर्ट की इंक्वायरी होती है, जब कभी सीबीआई ईडी आपके ऑफिस में आता है, सिर्फ यही डॉक्यूमेंट हैं जो आपकी जान बचाएंगे. ना आपकी फेस वैल्यू काम बचाएगी, जान बचाएगी, ना आपका ब्रांड, ना आपका नाम. अगर आपके पास ऑडिट एविडेंस होंगे, ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन होगी, तो यू विल बी स्पेयर्ड. अदरवाइज be ready for extreme consequences. So this is the importance of audit documentation. So whenever someone asks me what is the importance of audit documentation, I simply say, boss, these are the shot in arms. Simple सी बात है, ये टीकाकरण है आपके जेल नामक वायरस से, आपको बचाएगा. तो जैसे कोविड के लिए हम सब टीका लगवा रहे हैं, ये टीका हमें अपनी फर्म्स में भी लगाना है. और पर माय अंडरस्टैंडिंग, all chartered accountants, particularly who are in practice or who are doing audit of big corporate clients or the private limited clients who those have taken loans from banks, must be very, very careful about audit documentation, the quality of audit documents they they make or they maintain. So now the key features of audit documentation: assist the audit team to plan and perform the audit. Means once the audit planning is there, once the audit program is prepared by the senior most member of the audit team, so then it becomes a guiding factor. It becomes Bhagavad Gita for the subordinates. So many times it happens, the juniors come to you and say, sir, मैं inventory का audit कैसे करूं? Sir, मैं trade receivables का audit कैसे करूं? So then you tell them 5-6 steps to do. Boss, if it is inventory, then see, then check the valuation, check whether the inventory was physically verified by the management or not, or carry out physical verification on sample basis, floor to sheet, sheet to floor, or check out for the aging of the inventory to identify the slow moving or non moving items. What is the scrap policy of the company? Read and understand it. What is the policy of the client for identifying slow moving and non moving items? So आपने ये 5-6 पॉइंट्स जब आप उसको बताते हो, तो वो वही 5-6 करता है. So now since there was no audit program was prepared by you, so that is why he is coming back to you and asking. But suppose if you would have given him an audit procedure, audit program, okay boss, Mr. X, you have been instituted with the review of inventory, so you need to follow these 5-6 steps, follow them, and then tell me आपने जो inventory का audit किया है उसमें आपकी क्या observations. So this is the importance of audit documentation, particularly planning. Enables the audit team to be accountable for its work. If you know who is doing what, then you can fix accountability. On working papers, there should always be 2 columns, prepared by and reviewed by, with dates. सपोज आप डेटर्स का ऑडिट कर रहे हो, आपने डेटर्स का ऑडिट कर दिया, ठीक है जी, मैंने डायरेक्ट कंफर्मेशन ले ली, मैंने बिल्ट अप टेस्टिंग देख ली इन्वेंटर की, मैंने सब्सीक्वेंट रियलाइजेशन चेक कर ली, मैंने जो भी 5-6 स्टेप होते हैं वो कर लिए, और अब उसके बाद मेरा वर्क पेपर कंप्लीट है, तो देयर हैज टू बी प्रिपेयर्ड बाय, से दैट इज मिस्टर एक्स, एंड देन द रिव्यूअर रिव्यूड बाय मिस्टर वाई विद डेट्स. आपने 5 तारीख को बनाया, सामने वाले ने 7 या 8 तारीख को रिव्यू कर लिया. So if these 2 columns are there in that work paper, then after 5-10 years, you can easily fix accountability. Or if the guy has left your firm and there is an inquiry from external bodies, so at least you can call him and ask, boss अगर याद हो तो तुमने यार डेटर का ऑडिट किया था, उसमें ये प्रॉब्लम थी, इसमें तुमने क्या किया था? तो दैट गाई would have answered you, ओके सर ये हुआ था, ऐसे ऐसे हुआ था. आई एम नॉट श्योर कि 5 साल बाद उसे भी कुछ याद होगा कि नहीं होगा, बट एटलीस्ट देर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी, एटलीस्ट यू नो who has done what for that particular year. So this is the importance of audit documentation. Assist in supervision of work and enables quality control reviews. We have already discussed that if you are the reviewer, you are the senior most member of the audit team, so then you can review their work, what they have done, what they have not done, and you can instruct them further. Okay, suppose they have vouched only 50 vouchers and you believe that okay yaar at least 100 to karo, so at least you can say them do vouching of 50 more random samples. So these are the things, matters of continuing significance and retained for future audits. So now I am connecting this point with one thing. So nowadays for listed companies, every auditor has to comment upon key significant areas, key audit areas, or key audit matters, KAM we used to call it, KAM, key audit matters. So in the audit of listed companies, every auditor has to tell that what are the key audit areas or key audit matters which the auditor feels ये significant है, और फिर what audit procedures have been applied by the auditor to address that significance. Suppose आपने कहा कि revenue significant है इस client का, तो फिर आपने कौन से audit procedure किए to ensure yourself कि वो significant area को उसकी required attention मिली. आपने बोला जी इसका जो है revenue जो है वो significant area है, तो आप कौन से प्रोसीजर करेंगे? आप कहेंगे सर मैं जीएसटी की रिटर्न चेक कर लूंगा, मैं वाउचिंग कर लूंगा, आई विल आस्क फॉर एग्रीमेंट्स विद डिफरेंट कस्टमर्स, I will check whether the billing has been done as per the terms of the contract or not. I will see what is the accounting policy, whether the company is following accounting policy as per applicable accounting standards, be it Indian GAAPs or Ind AS, whatever the case is. So अब आपने जब रेवेन्यू बताया तो साथ ही साथ वो बताया, सो नाउ दिस इज द इंपॉर्टेंस. अब आपको आपके वर्किंग पेपर में अगर कोई सिग्निफिकेंट मैटर आया इस साल में विच ईदर वाज क्वालिफाइड बाय यू इन ऑडिट रिपोर्ट or was reported to the management in management letter, or you have taken management representation for that particular matter, if you are not retaining that matter for future purposes, many time it happens यार अब की बारी चलने दो अगले साल देख लेंगे, and I believe all of us have faced such problems. So अब की बारी चलने दो अगली बारी देख लेंगे, अब एक साल के बाद आएगा ऑडिटर तो बेचारा उसे थोड़ा ना याद रहेगा यार पिछली बारी इस क्लाइंट पे क्या था. Suppose you have not noted that point somewhere कि अगले साल देखना है, so how would you justify with that possibility? और suppose नई टीम है और उस नई टीम को वो पॉइंट मिला भी नहीं और वो निकल गया, मतलब आपके लिए वो इशू भी नहीं क्रिएट हुआ ऑडिट में, so isn't it a risk as an auditor to you, because ultimately you are signing the balance sheet, you are the partner, you are the engagement partner. So the audit documentation helps you to keep significant matters for future periods or for future references. Enabling the conduct of external inspections, we have already discussed. Okay, peer review, QRB, नफरा, CBI, ED, आजकल तो बेचारे चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स के पीछे सब कुछ हाथ धो के पड़ जाता है. So if your audit documentation is perfect, you can invite them freely, आओ बॉस करके जाओ हमने कौन सी चोरी करी है. But if there is something black in your दाल तो भाई साहब फिर तो कोई गुजारा है ही नहीं ना. So then the auditor would have to face the heat. And enabling the conduct of quality control, reviews and inspections in accordance with SQC1 quality control for firms. So SQC, we all are aware that it talks about quality control for firms that performs and reviews of historical financial audit information. Means SQC1 is applicable on every chartered accountant firm which carries out audit and assurance function. So these are the key features of audit documentation. Then audit working paper should contain all the audit evidences necessary to support our audit report by the date of such audit report. So when I am saying by the date of such audit report, what does it mean? यार ऑडिट तो आप 1 अप्रैल से 31 मार्च तक का कर रहे हो, बट आप ऑडिट रिपोर्ट साइन कर रहे हो सितंबर में, तो क्या आपका 1.5 साल का ऑडिट हो गया? तो क्या ये 1.5 साल का ऑडिट हो गया? तो क्या आपको लास्ट के 6 में जो बाद के 6 महीने हैं उनके लिए भी ऑडिट एविडेंस लेने पड़ेंगे? सो द आंसर इज यस. एंड व्हाई इट इज यस? So we all are aware that AS4 subsequent events particularly talks about 2 types of subsequent event, which are adjusting and non-adjusting. So if you identify certain subsequent events which are adjusting events, then you have to adjust financial statements of that particular years even after that particular event has happened post 31st March. So your audit report your audit documents or working papers must contain audit evidences by the date of audit report. So you have to keep your eyes and ears open when you are signing a audit report. Be prepared so as to enable an experienced auditor who is having no connection previously with that audit to understand. Means अगर मैं इसको सिंपली भाषा में बोलूं, भाई साहब मैं अब जैसे मैं अब द एग्जांपल व्हिच आई वाज गिविंग यू, आई एम रिव्यूइंग ऑडिट फर्म बेस्ड इन जयपुर एज अ पीयर रिव्यूअर. नाउ आई डोंट नो देयर क्लाइंट्स, आई नो नथिंग अबाउट देयर क्लाइंट्स. आई सिंपली आस्क देम, बॉस मेरे को अपनी ऑडिट फाइल दे दो. So they gave me their audit file and I started reviewing the work done by them. So now the idea of audit documentation is that your file, your documentation, your work papers should be in such a shape that an unknown experienced auditor can understand what the nature, timing, and extent of the audit procedures performed by you, the results of the audit procedures and audit evidence is obtained. Of the result of audit procedures means what? Now connect the dot. I gave you the example of trade receivable. भैया प्रोसीजर क्या फॉलो किया? मैंने डायरेक्ट कंफर्मेशन भेजी, रिजल्ट डिफरेंस आ गया दोनों बैलेंसेस में. So what was the result of audit procedure? There was a difference between the balance as per books of account and as per the direct confirmation. And what is the audit evidence is obtained by you? The direct confirmation, the gate outward register or whatever you may feel necessary. Then significant matters arising during the audit engagement and conclusion reach thereon. Now, how you concluded that whether that entry of 10 lakh rupee is genuine or not? It's genuine or not? Simple. So, your audit documentation or your audit work paper should be self-explanatory. I am saying it self-explanatory means जब आपका रिव्यू हो रहा हो तो आपको साथ में बैठने की जरूरत नहीं है टू एक्सप्लेन द वर्किंग पेपर. अगर आपकी ही जरूरत है उसकी एक्सप्लेनेशन के लिए तो फिर वो वर्क पेपर किसी काम का नहीं है. द वर्क पेपर, द ऑडिट वर्क पेपर शुड बी सेल्फ एक्सप्लेनेटरी. मतलब किस क्लाइंट का है, किस पीरियड का है, आपका क्या ऑब्जेक्टिव था, आपने कौन कौन से ऑडिट प्रोसीजर परफॉर्म किए और उसका क्या कंक्लूजन है. एटलीस्ट दीज 5-6 थिंग्स मस्ट बी देयर इन योर वर्क पेपर, ताकि जब आपका सीनियर या एक पीयर रिव्यूअर या एनी अदर एक्सटर्नल एक्सपीरियंस्ड ऑडिटर हु इज हैविंग नो कनेक्शन विद दैट ऑडिट comes to you to review your file, it is self-sufficient. It doesn't require your presence to to explain the working papers. So this is the idea and concept of working papers. there are 5 essential characteristics of high quality work papers. So these essential characteristics we have already discussed. These are not new. What? Completeness means each work paper should be completely self-standing and self-explanatory. Means it should be self-contained. यानी कि अगर मेरे को देखना है आपका कोई वर्क पेपर, तो आई कैन सी कि आपने क्या किया, क्या आपका कंक्लूजन आया, और आपने इसको किस तरीके से डिस्पोज ऑफ किया होगा, इफ देयर इज एनी सिग्निफिकेंट मैटर. ओके, एक्यूरेसी. Statements and computations must be accurate and technically correct. What do we mean by that? Suppose you are carrying out audit of fixed assets, okay, and you are not satisfied with the depreciation calculated by the client. So what will you do? You will be doing recomputation of depreciation. So when you are doing recomputation of depreciation, so that work paper, that depreciation work paper must be accurate. So when I am saying accurate, what does it mean? Mathematical accuracy. यानी कि 2 + 2 4 ही दिखाना चाहिए वो, या 3/2 वो 6 ही दिखाए, 3 × 2 वो 6 ही दिखाए. So the computations must be accurate and technically correct. When I am saying technically correct, what does it mean? It means the rates or the useful lives taken by you should be as per the schedule 2 of Companies Act. अब कंप्यूटेशन तो ठीक है साहब, बट जो यूजफुल लाइफ आपको लेनी थी वही गलत ले लिया आपने, तो क्या फायदा होगा उस मैथमेटिकल एक्यूरेसी का? सो द वर्क पेपर मस्ट बी टेक्निकली करेक्ट. यानी कि इफ यू आर कैलकुलेटिंग डेफर टैक्स फॉर द क्लाइंट and you have taken a wrong tax rate, so what does it mean? The work paper, even though the mathematical accuracy is there, so suppose the current unacted tax rate is 25%, but you have calculated deferred tax by applying 30% of tax rate. What does it mean? The mathematical accuracy is there, but the work paper is not technically correct. Why? Because the tax rate should have been 25% in place of 30%. So this is the meaning of accuracy. Organization means the work paper should be organized. So when I am saying organized, what does it mean? Suppose you are doing audit and the client is a big client. So उसमें इन्वेंट्री भी है, फिक्स असेट भी है, उसमें सेल भी है, परचेज भी है, उसमें अच्छी खासी मैन पावर कॉस्ट भी है, एम्प्लॉय कॉस्ट भी है, उसने लोन भी ले रखे हैं, उस पर फाइनेंस कॉस्ट भी है. अब इतना काम है तो वर्क पेपर कैसे प्रॉपर नोमेनक्लेचर होना चाहिए, एक स्कीमा होनी चाहिए नेम्स की, जैसे AWP ऑडिट वर्क पेपर अंडरस्कोर बोरोइंग्स अंडरस्कोर इंटरेस्ट कैलकुलेशन. मैं दूसरे पे आता हूं, AWP अंडरस्कोर इन्वेंट्री अंडरस्कोर वैल्यूएशन ऑफ इन्वेंट्री, AWP इन्वेंट्री अंडरस्कोर फिजिकल वेरिफिकेशन ऑफ इन्वेंट्री, AWP अंडरस्कोर इन्वेंट्री रियलाइजेशन होता ना, net realizable value or cost whichever is lower. How would you test it? So you would have to see the net realizable value. So AWP underscore inventory underscore NRV or cost testing. So in inventory there can be more than 2, 3, 4, 5 work papers, Excel sheets. So they have to be organized. अब मैं इन्वेंट्री, पूरे इन्वेंट्री, मुझे इन्वेंट्री का रिव्यू करना है, मैंने कहा भाई इन्वेंट्री के वर्क पेपर दे दो, उसने भेज दिया मुझे AWP इन्वेंट्री NRV टेस्टिंग, मैंने उसे खोला, उसके अंदर बोरोइंग्स आ रही हैं. व्हाट इज द बेनिफिट ऑफ इट? कोई फायदा नहीं हुआ काम का. सो द वर्क पेपर मस्ट बी ऑर्गेनाइज्ड, अ लॉजिकल सिस्टम ऑफ नंबरिंग, रीडर फ्रेंडली, अ टेक्निकल कॉम्पिटेंट पर्सन कैन who is unfamiliar with the project. Again आप इसको यहाँ से कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं इस वाले पॉइंट से. Be prepared so to enable an experienced auditor having no previous connection with the audit to understand. So दे हैव टू बी ऑर्गेनाइज इन सच ए मैनर कि कोई भी बंदा समझ ले आपके वर्क पेपर को. सो दिस इज द क्वालिटी ऑफ वर्क पेपर. रेलिवेंस एंड कंसाइजनेस मीन्स वो रेलिवेंट होना चाहिए. मतलब अब मैं जैसे मैं इसको किस तरीके से बोलूं, मैंने कहा भाई सेल्स का ऑडिट कर लिया मेरे जूनियर को. उसने कहा सर कर लिया. मैंने कहा दिखाइए वर्क पेपर. उसने मेरे को पूरा सेल्स रजिस्टर दे दिया. मैंने कहा भाई क्या करूं इसका. अब उसमें से दैट इज 50,000 एंट्रीज हैं उस सेल्स रजिस्टर में. उसने कहा सर मैंने इसमें सैंपल टेस्टिंग कर ली. मैंने कहा भाई सैंपल टेस्टिंग कर ली, कहाँ कर ली, कौन सी कर ली, मुझे तो समझ में नहीं आ रहा. सर वो रेंडमली ऐसे ही बस सैंपल सिलेक्ट किया और उसका वाउचर उसका इनवॉइस चेक कर लिया. तो इज दैट इज अ वर्किंग पेपर? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल द वेरी फर्स्ट आंसर इज no, it's not a working paper. It is a data provided by the client first of all. Second, चलो 1 मिनट के लिए मैंने उसको बेनिफिट ऑफ डाउट दे दिया. फर्स्ट ईयर सेकंड ईयर आर्टिकल है या न्यूली क्वालिफाइड है और डमी में आर्टिकलशिप करी थी, नहीं आता काम. तो आई गेव हिम बेनिफिट ऑफ डाउट. आई सेड ओके बॉस चल ठीक है मैं इसे वर्किंग पेपर मान लेता हूँ, बट ये तो बता तूने सैंपल कौन से टेस्ट किए. सर वो तो बस रैंडमली चेक कर लिए थे, मैंने कोई कलर लगाया था सर. मैंने कहा चलो ठीक है कलर बता दे भाई कौन सा लगाया था, मैं सोल्ट कर लेता हूँ. अब कलर से सोल्ट करने लगा तो 5 कलर मिल गए उसमें. एक पे ग्रीन, एक पे रेड, एक पे येलो, एक पे नारंगी. और अगर भगवान ना करे कोई मतलब फीमेल्स नॉट टू ऑफेंड, बट अगर किसी को पिंक कलर पसंद है तो पता लगा पिंक कलर. अरे भाई साहब मैं क्या समझू इसको. अब ये तेरा हरे कलर का मतलब क्या है, ठीक या गलत. पीले कलर का मतलब क्या है, रेड कलर का मतलब क्या है. सो आई एम जस्ट ट्राइंग टू टेल यू द रेलिवेंस ऑफ द वर्क डन बाय यू. the work paper would be relevant only when it conveys what it wants to convey. अगर वो if it is not explanatory, if it cannot express itself, तो मेरे फायदा क्या होगा ऐसे वर्क पेपर का. so it has to be relevant and concise. concise means आपको 50,000 एंट्री नहीं दिखानी मुझे सेल्स की. वो तो मेरा भी मन करेगा तो मैं भी कहूंगा एक बार चलो यार मेरे को अपने सिस्टम की एक्सेस दे दो, मैं देख लेता हूँ आपकी सेल. It doesn't make sense. It has to be concise. And when I'm saying concise, what does it mean? It fulfills the objective of your audit procedures which you are executing for that particular area. अब अगर आप फिक्स एसेट का ऑडिट कर रहे हो और आपका जो आइडिया है वो ये है वेदर दी आपका जो ऑब्जेक्टिव है वो ये वेदर दी फिक्स असेट्स आर इन एग्जिस्टेंस और नॉट. तो अगर आप एग्जिस्टेंस चेक करना चाहते हैं किसी पर्टिकुलर असेट का और आपने वहां पे उसका लेजर लगा दिया तो क्या एग्जिस्टेंस चेक हो गया? ऑब्वियसली नॉट, because your objective was to vouch existence. And how would you vouch existence? Existence can only be vouched by physical verification of that assets. And if you are not carrying fixed asset, instead you are showing me the fixed asset register itself. So boss, fixed asset register is not yours. It is given to you by the client. It is in its system. I could have accessed it any time. तो आपके इस काम करने का फायदा क्या हुआ? So there is no relevance, no conciseness. So the audit documentation or audit work paper which you are preparing must be relevant. If you are saying that my objective to carry out physical verification, then it has to be a physical verification working paper only. And since auditors are not supposed to verify 100% fixed assets if they are not minimal, so then आप सिंपल बोलो सर मैं ऐसे ही टहल रहा था, मैंने कहा यार मेरे को जरा अपना फिक्स एसेट रजिस्टर दे दो और इनकी हर एक फिक्स एसेट पे टैगिंग है. तो मैंने बस ऐसे ही कहा कि यार दिखा ना ये फला नंबर का जो टैग इस लैपटॉप पे लगा हुआ है ये किसके पास है. ठीक है, यू फिजिकली वेरीफाइड इट. सो ऐसे करके आपने 20-30 चेक कर लिए सैंपल बेसिस पे. आप कहोगे ठीक है. एंड द सेम एग्जांपल कुड बी सरप्राइज कैश काउंट. भाई अगर आप कैश काउंट करना चाहते हैं तो आप शाम को 5 बजे अचानक से कैशियर के पास पहुंचे, आपने कहा यार आज तेरी बुक्स में कितना कैश है. उसने कहा जी 10,000 रुपये दिखा रहा है. आपने कहा चलो दिखाना 10,000 है. अब वो कहेगा सर 10,000 तो नहीं है, 6,000 है, 5,000 है. तो भाई बाकी 3-4 5,000 कहाँ गए? अब आप को ये वर्क पेपर बनाना है और आप ले आओ बैंक स्टेटमेंट उसकी पूरी या उसका कैश लेजर. what is the relevance of it? So you have to bear it in mind that work paper must convey what it wants to convey. Otherwise there is no otherwise जितना काम किया वो सब फुटाइल है, वो सब अनफ्रूटफुल है आपके लिए. Now, nature of audit documentation. What do we mean by audit document, nature of audit documentation? It can be in electronic form, we have already discussed. Can be in hard form. It can be in hard disk, it can be in pen drive. और आजकल तो मोबाइल अच्छे चल रहे हैं तो मोबाइल में भी हो सकता है. Examples, audit program. So now I am giving you example of audit working papers, audit documentation. When I am saying documentation, then documentation is nothing. It is a heap of working papers. The working papers can be Excel file, can be Word file, can be physical papers जो आपने प्रिंट आउट्स लिए हैं, लेजर्स के प्रिंट आउट आपने लिए हैं, ये सब एक वो हो सकते हैं. एंड ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन इज अ ब्रॉडर टर्म, इट इज अ कैनोपी which is a heap of different class of documents. So when I am saying the examples of working audit documentation, then audit program, emails with the client. So what is the importance of emails with the client? आपने कोई चीज मांगी क्लाइंट से, बॉस आई नीड सो एंड सो डेटा, और क्लाइंट आपको दे ही नहीं रहा. आप उससे रोज जाते हो बात करते हो वो दे नहीं रहा, आप जाते हो बात करते हो वो दे नहीं रहा, आप आके अपने मैनेजर को या अपने पार्टनर को बता रहे हो सर वो नहीं दे रहा, वो आप पे ही भड़क रहा है. यार दिमाग खराब है तुम्हारा यार, 10 दिन से तुम क्या फिर वहां क्या कर क्या रहे हो वहां पे खाली बैठे? इफ यू आर नॉट गेटिंग एनी इन्फॉर्मेशन, व्हाई डिडंट यू टेल मी? नाउ सपोज द केस, had you sent the mail to the client by carbon copying your senior, you could have told him, boss आपको भी तो मेल कर रखी है, रोज तो सीसी में मेल आ रही है, आपने भी क्या कर लिया, वो दे ही नहीं रहा, पक्का ढीठ आदमी है, उसको ट्रेनिंग मिली हुई ऑडिटर को घुमाना है, इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं देनी है. तो now this is the importance of email. So any email which you are sending to clients for seeking information must be preserved. और किसी मेल में आप कोई कंफर्मेशन मांगते हो, जैसे बहुत सी टाइम ये नहीं होता कि आपने कोई पॉइंट डिस्कस किया, उसने कहा जी ये रिकॉर्ड तो हम बनाते ही नहीं भाई साहब, ये डेटा तो बन ही नहीं सकता. आई हैव सीन इट मेनी टाइम्स. सिंपल सा फंडा, हमारा सिस्टम में ये इन्फॉर्मेशन, सर हमारा सिस्टम डेटर की एजिंग निकालता ही नहीं सर, महालद्धड़ सिस्टम है, पता नहीं लाला की क्या बुद्धि है, वो पैसे नहीं खर्च करना चाहता अकाउंटिंग पे, सिस्टम से निकलेगा ही नहीं. अब उसने तो बोल दिया, आपने सुन लिया, आप आ गए. अब आके आप what is the suggested mode of doing so? Write a mail to client seeking confirmation of your discussion. Boss, this refers our discussion that your system is not capable to generate data aging. Kindly confirm. अगर वो आपको कंफर्मेशन में मेल कर देता है ओके कंफर्म्ड, तो आपके लिए ऑडिट एविडेंस हो गया, वो उसका प्रिंट आउट निकालो, फाइल में लगाओ या उसको मेल को सेव करो और अपने ऑडिट फोल्डर में रख लो. सो द ईमेल सेंड टू द क्लाइंट्स आर अगेन द form of audit documentation. Analysis means what? Ratio analysis, trend analysis, और आपका any other types of analysis which you are doing during audit. Evidence of test of details on sample of items means what? जो आपने वाउचिंग करी है, तो वाउचिंग, टेस्ट ऑफ डिटेल्स आर रेफर्ड एज वाउचिंग, तो आप वाउचिंग की अपने वर्क पेपर. लेटर्स ऑफ कंफर्मेशन एंड रिप्रेजेंटेशन, यानी कि मैनेजमेंट कंफर्मेशन, मैनेजमेंट रिप्रेजेंटेशन. एब्स्ट्रैक्ट और कॉपीज ऑफ एंटिटीज रिकॉर्ड सच एज सिग्निफिकेंट और स्पेसिफिक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स, मिनट्स ऑफ मीटिंग, ये सारी चीजें. Substantive analytical procedures including development of expectations and investigation of differences. आपने अगेन कोई एनालिसिस किया हो, आपने कोई जैसे क्या होता है व्हेन यू आर डूइंग सब्सटेंटिव एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर, तो आप क्या करते हो, आप कहते हो यार मेरे हिसाब से इस क्लाइंट की सेल इस साल में 20% बढ़नी चाहिए, तो आप एक एक्सपेक्टेड बैलेंस शीट बना लेते हो बेस्ड ऑन प्रीवियस ईयर, and then you compare it with the actual balance sheet which the client is providing you. So अगर आपकी एक्सपेक्टेशंस, वो आपने बैलेंस शीट बनाई थी, वो और क्लाइंट की बैलेंस शीट एक सी है, तो बस बहुत सारा काम हो गया, ऑडिट तो हो गया, आधे से ज्यादा ऑडिट हो गया. व्हाई? बिकॉज the client is doing what the industry in general is doing, what the industry broadly is doing. Yani कि if your client is in a particular industry and that industry is on an year-on-year basis, and your client is showing a growth of 100% or 200% or 50%, then there is a matter of concern for you. Not concern not in that manner कि इसके साले के पैसे कैसे बढ़ गए. भाई साहब उसके पैसे बढ़ेंगे जब भी हमारी फीस बढ़ेगी, प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड. बट concern means it gives you an area where you need to dig down and understand what are the major contributory which are giving exponential growth to the client. Why its sales is increasing as compared to as its in comparison to its competitors, or as comparative to industry at large. So these are the things which can help you while conducting audits. So these are the nature of audit documentation. What is not audit documentation? अभी तक हमने बहुत डिस्कस कर लिया कि भाई ऑडिट कैसे होगा, क्या होगा, डॉक्यूमेंटेशन क्या होंगे. अब ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन है क्या नहीं? एंटिटी रिकॉर्ड्स, इनवॉइसेस, आप उसका इनवॉइस लेके अपने पास रख लो, इट इज नॉट अ ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन. हमारे काम का ही नहीं है. आपका वर्क पेपर होना चाहिए ना, जिसमें आप बोलो इनवॉइस नंबर दिस, डेटेड दिस, इस क्लाइंट को हमने रेज किया था, इतने रुपए का था, इतना जीएसटी लगा. एक वर्क पेपर में एक्सेल में आपने उसकी पूरी डिटेल लिखी और उसके सामने आपने लिखा कि ठीक है मैंने चेक कर लिया. यू कैन यूज स्पेशल टिक मार्क्स, यू कैन यूज कलर्स एंड यू कैन डिफाइन कलर्स कि अगर मैं बोल रहा हूँ ये ग्रीन कलर है तो इट मीन्स एवरीथिंग इज फाइन, अगर ये रेड कलर है तो इट मीन्स एवरीथिंग इज नॉट फाइन. तो आप उस तरीके से कर सकते हैं. बट एंटिटी रिकॉर्ड्स, taking dump of the ledger is not audit documentation or working paper. Superseded working papers और draft working papers, मतलब आपने कोई वर्क पेपर बनाया, ड्राफ्ट करके छोड़ दिया, उसके बाद एक नया ही वर्क पेपर तैयार कर दिया, उसे फाइनल भी कर दिया, तो वो जो सुपरसीडेड या ड्राफ्ट वर्क पेपर था, दैट इज नॉट ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन. काइंडली रिमेंबर टू डिस्कार्ड इट, बिकॉज मेनी टाइम इट हैपन्स कि वो भी फाइल में रह जाता है, दूसरा भी फाइल में रह जाता है, और पहले वाले में आपने बोल्ड बोल्ड रेड रेड अक्षरों में लिखा था, क्योंकि जब आप पर्टिकुलरली न्यू होते हो ना ऑडिट लाइन में और आपका खून गर्म होता है, तो आप कहते हो यार ऐसी तैसी कर दूंगा ऑडिट में मैं क्लाइंट की, और आप उसकी सारी गलतियां लिख देते हो वहां पे, देखो जी ये नहीं करता, ये नहीं करता, ये नहीं करता. फिर आपका सीनियर आता है जिसका 15-20 साल का एक्सपीरियंस है, तो जो थक चुका होता है हकीकत के थपेड़े लग लग के, वो आगे कहता है अरे भाई छोड़ यार ऐसा ही होता है, ये हटा ये हटा ये हटा, और एक नया वर्क पेपर आप बना देते हो, बट वो पुराना आपकी फाइल में रह गया. आपका गलती से रिव्यू उठ गया क्यूआरबी में, या भगवान ना करे कभी कोई सीबीआई या कुछ आपके यहाँ आ गया और आते उसने वो वर्क पेपर देख लिया, जगह नहीं मिलेगी भाई साहब छुपने की. सो काइंडली रिमेंबर टू डिस्कार्ड सुपरसीडेड वर्किंग पेपर्स और ड्राफ्ट्स. Notes that reflect incomplete or preliminary thinking, again the same thing, draft review points. So if you are junior team member, you audit team member, and your work is being reviewed by the senior team member, and senior team member gave you review points, do this also, please increase the number of samples to be tested from 50 to 100. व्हाट इज, जैसे हम कई बार लिख नहीं देते अपने, जब हम किसी डॉक्यूमेंट का रिव्यू करते हैं और बगल में कमेंट्स डाल रहे हो, तो व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय दिस, आई डिडंट अंडरस्टैंड द वर्क परफॉर्म्ड, आई डिडंट अंडरस्टैंड द इंटेंशन, वो जो हम लिखते हैं जर्नली, आपने वो सब लिखे हुए अपने वर्क पेपर में, जूनियर ने वो नहीं हटाए, यानी कि उसने वो रिव्यू पॉइंट्स नहीं हटाए, इवन दो, एंड नाउ इट इज इनडिफरेंट whether he or she has addressed those review points or not, क्योंकि रिव्यू पॉइंट हटे ही नहीं. तो अगर उसने वो एड्रेस पॉइंट वो रिव्यू पॉइंट एड्रेस भी कर दिए, उनको रिजोल्व भी कर दिया, तो भी यूर वर्किंग पेपर इज नॉट गिविंग ट्रू सेंस, करेक्ट सेंस, एंड इट मे लीड टू एम्बिग्यूटी एंड प्रॉब्लम्स फॉर यू इन फ्यूचर. सो रिव्यू पॉइंट मस्ट बी एड्रेस्ड एंड रिमूव्ड. And now if uncertain whether to keep in file as audit documentation or not, then ask the senior or the manager or the partner as the case may be. So if you think, I am not sure whether to keep this particular document as audit evidence or not, then discuss it with seniors. Don't try to play James Bond, because if you are junior, then you don't know. If you are senior, then you can decide based on your experience ki whether ye document kaam ka hai ki nahi. Now the documentation retention policy. So now you can see a comparison of countries: Canada, Germany, Italy, Japan, Norway, and India. 10 years means your quality or the quality of your work might be examined even after 10 years or even after a long period when you prepared it, because an audit firm is required to retain working papers up to 10 years. Earlier it used to be 8 years, but now it is 10 years. And now do let me know, I'm not sure whether you are aware or not, but I believe 2 or 3 years back there was an amendment where the management has defined chartered accountants, company secretaries, CWAs, and other professionals for that matter as information intermediary. Now understand this term. Information intermediary means the central government or the government authority has all rights to believe that you are having information related to your clients, and they are right in their decision to summon you to produce the information. So now you cannot say about confidentiality, client confidentiality. No. The government of India has changed has made the necessary amendments. So now the professionals are information intermediaries. Whenever they are required to produce document, they have to. United States and Australia 7 years, United Kingdom 8 years, South Africa and Denmark 5 years. So as the case may be, so we are focused about India more. So the chartered accountants or the auditors are required to retain working papers up to 10 years. So now you can understand what is the importance of the importance of audit documentation. Suppose, and I am sharing an example with you. One of my very good friend issued audit report in 2013, and that client went bankrupt. So some of the home buyers, the client was in real estate, some of the home buyers filed complaint against the client stating that it has manipulated the funds. It has withdrawn the funds. So that is why we have not been given possession of our house. So kindly take appropriate actions. So the economic offense wing initially investigated the case and referred that case to ED. So the ED summoned the auditor and asked for each and every information they were having. And my friend was sharing that experience with me, and I wish none of us might face that situation. He was telling me that he was bothered by ED up to 12 days. So he was asked to come to ED office at 9 sharp in the morning, and they didn't give him a place to sit. Almost 7-8 hours he used to stand, and then around 8 p.m. in the late evening they asked him to leave, and then again come at 9 in the morning. So he visited ED without any questioning for 12 days, and on 13 days ED asked him questions, and the language and the temperament and the body language of ED officials was not pleasant. None of us would want to experience the situation, let me tell you upfrontly. And then ये report कैसे issue कर दी, ये client में ये problem थी, इसने इतने पैसे लिए थे, तुमने check किए, इसने land खरीद रखी थी कि नहीं खरीद रखी थी, तुमने check करी. So you can understand the language of law enforcement authorities. So the mental trauma which my friend was subject to was undescribable. So be sure that your working papers are good in line, because nowadays it has become very easy for anyone to approach legal authorities, and legal authorities, by virtue of their position, believes that every professional is a thief, is corrupt, because they are corrupt in return. So they cannot accept these, that they are corrupt. So that is why they are looking at us with the sense of corruption. So friends, maintain audit documentation properly. If you are doing audits of any company which in which company public is substantially interested, or it has taken loan from banks or NBFCs or in any or any other type of clients. Key features of audit documentation. So audit working paper should contain all the audit evidences we already discussed. So no need to discuss this slide. It come again. These two slides. So now, how a model work paper should look like? What are the contents of a model working paper? So these are the contents of working paper, named appropriately. Say that is 01 Cash and Bank BRS March 20. So that if someone wants to see bank reconciliation statement, he can open this work paper easily without any hassles. So the idea is name it appropriately. Then background. So when I am saying background, what does it mean? When I open this work paper, so I am aware about the client, first of all. So there has to be a little bit about client. Suppose XYZ Limited is engaged in manufacturing of steel or whatsoever. Okay, so it has 2 or 3 plants. And now, since this is a very brief background about the client in each and every work paper, then background about the area you are auditing, you are working upon. So here the underlying area is cash and bank. Then you can tell the client has 7 bankers, or the client is having current accounts in 7 banks, namely ICICI, HDFC, SBI, Canara, Punjab National Bank. Okay, then the most used account is this. Say that is a particular current account number with so and so bank, and the client has also taken overdraft limit from so and so client. So little bit about the cash and bank function of that client should be in that work paper, so that if I am opening that work paper, I know about the client. Okay, it is a manufacturing client. It has 2 plants. It is a steel manufacturing client. First, second, okay, it has 7 bank accounts. Okay, it has taken bank overdraft or long-term borrowings or short-term borrowings from so and so bank. Okay, then this is the most used bank account. Okay, so now I can focus all my energy towards that particular account, because that is the most frequently used bank account by the client. And obviously in that account there would be highest item reconciling items, because that is the most frequently used. So if you are issuing checks, you are making payments, but the checks have not been presented by the clients or have not been deposited by you into the bank accounts which you have received from your customers, so I can focus on that particular account only. So by reading the background, I can understand what you are going to do in that work paper. What would be what is there, what is next in that work paper can be assumed by me in my mind if the background is correct. Then scope. Now what is the scope? Scope means what? Objective. What do you want to do? The scope could be, what could be the scope of cash and bank? To ascertain whether the cash in hand exists, to ascertain whether the bank balance, the bank accounts or FDs or loans are in existence, to ascertain whether they have been properly accounted for into the books of accounts or not, to ascertain whether the interest on the loan or the accrued interest but not due has been properly recorded into the books of account, or for that matter in case of BRS, whether the bank reconciliation whether the bank reconciliation statement has been prepared and the bank accounts properly reconciled or not. So this can be the scope or objective of this work paper. So now if I read background along with objective, my assumption about what next in that work paper is somehow 50-60% now. Then source of information. So now you are telling from where you got the information and what information you have used. So now you are telling bank statement for so and so account, bank ledger from the books of account. Obviously this is the source of information. Then अब source of information में BRS prepare करने के लिए you have to see subsequent realization of checks कि भाई चेक्स आपने इशू कर दिए, पार्टी ने रियलाइज करवाए कि नहीं करवाए, आपको मिले थे, आपने बैंक में डाले कि नहीं डाले. सो यू कुड हैव आस्क्ड फॉर द बैंक बैलेंसेस ऑफ सब्सिक्वेंट बैंक स्टेटमेंट्स ऑफ सब्सिक्वेंट पीरियड्स आल्सो. सो नाउ दिस इज द सोर्स ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन यू हैव यूज्ड टू ऑडिट कैश एंड बैंक. Name of the client personnel with designation. Who provided you this information? Name and his designation. Clear documentation of work done in line with the procedure it corresponds. Means what? बैंक रिकंसिलिएशन स्टेटमेंट में आप क्या करते हो? ट्रेस द बैलेंस फ्रॉम बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट, बैंक बैलेंस. फिर अगला पार्ट क्या होता है बैंक स्टेटमेंट का? डिटेल्स और वो एड और लेस जो भी हम लिखते हैं, चेक्स इशूड बट नॉट प्रेजेंटेड बाय द क्लाइंट, एड और लेस वट एवर इट इज. ओके, वो सारी डिटेल. फिर एड और लेस चेक्स रिसीव्ड बट नॉट प्रेजेंटेड इनटू द बैंक्स. फिर एड और लेस चेक डिपॉजिटेड डायरेक्टली बाय द क्लाइंट इनटू द बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट बट नॉट रिकॉर्डेड बाय अस इनटू द बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट. सो नाउ whatever you are doing below, you have to narrate it into the words, into the sentences. So narrate it. पहले हमने बैलेंस लिया, दूसरा हमने वो आइटम छाटे जिनके हमने चेक इशू कर दिए थे, दूसरा हमने वो आइटम लिए जो हमें चेक मिल गए थे बट हम जमा नहीं करवा पाए, 31 तारीख कोई मिले, जैसे भी हुआ 30 को मिले बट हम नहीं जा पाए बैंक में. तो वो सारा जो भी आप प्रोसीजर फॉलो कर रहे हो, यू हैव टू मेंशन इट इन यूर वर्क पेपर. सो नाउ टेल मी, मैंने यहां तक का ये आपका वर्क पेपर पढ़ लिया, मैं नीचे नहीं आया हूं अभी तक बैंक रिकंसिलिएशन स्टेटमेंट पे. मेरी समझ में आ गया आपने क्या किया है. अब ऑब्जर्वेशन और एडजस्टमेंट एंट्रीज और प्रपोज्ड एडजस्टमेंट एंट्रीज. अब अगर आपको लगता है कि यार ये चेक 3 महीने पुराना हो चुका है और क्लाइंट इसे अभी भी रिकंसिलिएशन स्टेटमेंट में दिखा रहा है, ये गलत कर रहा है, तो नाउ दिस इज योर ऑब्जर्वेशन. सो सिंस द 90 days period or 3 months period since when the check was issued have been passed, so this check becomes stale. तो अब क्या करो, अगर ये चेक आपको आया हुआ है तो वापस डेटर का बैलेंस बढ़ा दो, और अगर आपने इशू किया हुआ हो तो वापस लाइबिलिटी का बैलेंस बढ़ा दो, यानी कि पार्टी का बैलेंस बढ़ा दो, बिकॉज दिस चेक इज नो मोर अ नेगोशिएबल इंस्ट्रूमेंट, इट हैज लॉस्ट इट्स वैलिडिटी. सो दीज माइट बी योर ऑब्जर्वेशंस एंड नाउ इट इज योर ऑब्जर्वेशन, नाउ यू आर प्रपोजिंग एन एंट्री. बॉस अगर आपने इशू कर रखा था तो व्हाट एंट्री इज रिक्वायर्ड? बैंक अकाउंट डेबिट, इंक्रीज द बैंक अकाउंट बिकॉज द चेक वाज नॉट प्रेजेंटेड बाय द पार्टी विद इन 90 days, so bank account debit to that party account. So this is the proposed adjustment entry or the adjustment entry which you are proposing to the client to pass in its books of account. Simple. So ये आपने वही लिखी हुई है अपने वर्क पेपर में. एक्सटर्नल रेफरेंसिंग. अब एक्सटर्नल रेफरेंसिंग क्या हो सकती है? अब बैंकिंग, आपके पास एक्सिस बैंक का बैलेंस कंफर्मेशन आया हुआ है, अब उसने तो भाई आपने हार्ड कॉपी में भेजा, उसने हार्ड कॉपी में कंफर्म कर दिया. तो जब आप बैलेंस एज पर बैंक अकाउंट नीचे लिख रहे हो कहीं पे, तो आप वहां पे रेफरेंस लिखो कि जो ऑडिट फाइल में आपका एक्सिस बैंक बैलेंस कंफर्मेशन आपको हार्ड में मिला हुआ है उसका रेफरेंस दे दो, या उस बैंक कंफर्मेशन को स्कैन करो और उसी वर्क पेपर में एम्बेड कर दो, ताकि जिस भी रिव्यूअर को देखना है वो देख ले कि ठीक है यार, बैंक हैज गिवन रिकंसिलिएशन, ओके, मेरे पास इसके इतने अकाउंट है और ये बैलेंस. एंड देन द कंक्लूजन. Conclusion is very, very important, because any work paper which is not concluded properly means a open working paper. क्योंकि अब मैंने सब कुछ पढ़ लिया, बट कंक्लूजन में आपने यही नहीं लिखा कि भाई सेटिस्फैक्ट्री था या नहीं, मतलब whether you are satisfied or not, because whatever procedures you have done, that is okay, the observations are there, that is also okay, external referencing is there, that is okay, but what is your conclusion? Are you satisfied? Are you saying that the bank cash and bank balances are properly or fairly stated into the books of accounts? आपने अगर ये लाइन नहीं लिखी in your conclusion, that means this work paper is open for various interpretations. Because if you are not closing something and it is still open, then it is open for various interpretations, various other consequences. So this is how, or this is what a model work paper should look like. So if you are preparing a work paper, then it has to have all these specifications. So now this is about the model working paper. Now quickly let's discuss some do's and don'ts into the working paper or audit documentation. Read the work step and understand the procedures to be performed. What do you mean by? So whatever you are writing into the work paper, वही लिखो जो तुम नीचे कर रहे हो. Because if you read 7 steps, or if you write 7 steps कि आपने ये किया ये किया ये किया, और नीचे वर्क पेपर में मान लो 2 ही किए या 3 ही स्टेप्स किए, तो the reviewer would definitely come behind you and ask, boss, what have you done? You are saying that you have performed these 7 procedures, but it is evident that you have performed only 3 out of 7. Don't try to cheat, because you are not cheating your senior, you are not cheating anyone else, you are ultimately cheating yourself. If you are at junior level, then it is your learning time and you are cheating with yourself. And if you are the partner or senior, then you are not cheating the authorities, or you are not doing it just to close the assignment, but you are cheating yourself, and it will be problematic in future. Document the work done as you do with abundant clarity. Means don't wait till end. Okay यार, मैंने ये भी कर लिया, ये भी कर लिया, ये भी कर लिया, और अब इनकी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन में 2 महीने बाद कर लूंगा. No, because you will forget what have you done. This is a normal human tendency. We tend to forget things. So work, document as and when you are doing. Document the work done as you do. Make it a principle. Don't wait till tomorrow. Whatever you are doing, document it. Organize your work paper well, including, but not limited to referencing, cross-referencing. If you have any other idea for better organization of your work papers, do it. और अगर better idea नहीं है तो कम से कम numbering, referencing और cross-referencing तो जरूर करते. Then document specific balances and transactions that were examined during the year. Suppose you were auditing advertisement expenses and you observed that यार हर पार्टी से हर महीने लगभग 5-10 लाख रुपए का खर्चा करता है ये, बट इस पार्टी से अचानक 50 लाख का खर्चा क्या आ गया भाई. So now this is the specific balance, specific transactions which you are examining. तो उसका जरूर particularly वहां पे मेंशन करो. Mention the type of support documents verified. Means what? क्या क्या चेक किया. Not only voucher. Voucher तो है यार, voucher is an internal document. Voucher में तो मैं prepare कर रहा हूँ. I am the accountant of my company. Sporting document voucher नहीं होता. Sporting documents are bills of the party, e-way bill raised by the party, transporter की bill, gates inward register if you are vouching purchases, quality and assurance department का quality check का certificate की yes the inventory or the products or the goods arrived are as per the specification, are as per the quality which we sought for. So these are the things. वो लिखो आपने क्या चेक किया वहां पे. सिर्फ वाउचर नहीं. वाउचर तो यार वाउचर तो मैं बनाता हूँ, ये डेबिट ये क्रेडिट, ठीक है बन गया वाउचर. It is not supporting document. Forward and backward linking of lead sheet. What do you mean by? When you are say that is auditing inventory, तो इन्वेंट्री की लीड शीट पे क्या बनेगा, जो बैलेंस शीट का शेड्यूल है वो एज इट इज आपके वर्किंग पेपर की लीड शीट है. फिनिश गुड्स, रॉ मटेरियल, गुड्स इन ट्रांजिट, दिस सारी फिगर वहां लिख दी आपने, इस साल की, पिछले साल की, टोटल कर दिया. This is the lead sheet. And now the second tab could be finished goods. Third tab could be raw material. Third tab could be goods in transit. And now interlink it. When I'm saying interlink, it means what? Lead sheet पे जाके remarks का column बनाओ, वहां लिखो refer tab finished goods. तो वो और उसको वो कर दो, लिंक कर दो. तो जैसे ही I as a reviewer want to see finished goods, what have you done in finished goods? I will press the control and वो बड़े वाला वो जो होता है ब्रैकेट वाला बटन, and I would go to that sheet and I will see what you have done. So try to not try to, you have to link it backward, forward, then external referencing. अब आपने फिनिश गुड्स तो यहाँ नहीं करी, बिकॉज फिनिश गुड्स अपने आप में बहुत हैं, आपने अलग ही वर्क पेपर बना दिया, तो वहां रेफरेंस दे दो उसका. Discussions of significant matters with management and others on a timely basis. If you are senior member of your team and you are discussing several observations or issues which you observed during your execution, discussion करो उसका management और उनके responses लिखो, minutes of meeting बनाओ, क्योंकि there are 2 or 3 essays which specifically talk about discussion with चार, नाम कुछ डिफरेंट हो सकता है, बट डिस्कशन विद whom चार्ज विद गवर्नेंस. जैसे इंटरनल कंट्रोल्स में अगर आपके कुछ वीकनेसेस आपको पता लगती है, तो इट इज यूर ड्यूटी अकॉर्डिंग टू अ स्पेसिफिक एसे दैट यू मस्ट कम्युनिकेट वीकनेसेस ऑब्जर्व्ड बाय यू, वीकनेसेस इन इंटरनल कंट्रोल्स ऑब्जर्व्ड बाय यू टू द मैनेजमेंट. It is your duty as per the standards on auditing. वो एक पर्टिकुलर ऐसे है, नेम आई एम फॉरगेटिंग नाउ. सो आपको डिस्कशंस करो, वर्क पेपर बनाओ, मिनट्स ऑफ मीटिंग्स बनाओ आपके डिस्कशंस की. सो दीज आर सम डूज. प्रॉपर नेमिंग वी ऑलरेडी डिस्कशन. डिलीट एंड डिस्ट्रॉय डॉक्यूमेंट which have been superseded, ये वही चीजें हैं. यूज पासवर्ड टू प्रोटेक्ट कॉन्फिडेंशियल इंफॉर्मेशन. मान लो क्लाइंट आपको अपना पे रजिस्टर दे रहा है, सैलरी सीट दे रहा है, तो सैलरी सीट वो सीनियर बंदे को ही दे रहा है मान लो, तो वो पासवर्ड प्रोटेक्ट कर दो उसको, ताकि कई बार क्या होता है जब हमारे साथ क्लाइंट बैठा हुआ है और हमने कोई सीट गलती से खोल दी, तो मिस्टर एक्स को पता लगता है ओ मैं भी मैनेजर, मिस्टर वाई भी मैनेजर, बट उसकी सैलरी मेरे से 5 लाख ज्यादा. वो कलेश उतार देता है मैनेजमेंट के सर पे जाके, या रिजाइन करता है या 70 काम करता है, व्हाटसोएवर. सो आई एम नॉट सेइंग वेदर मैनेजमेंट इज राइट इन हिज एक्शंस और नॉट, बट we should not create problem to the client for that matter. So use passwords if the information is confidential. Some don'ts: don't leave open comments. We've already discussed. Don't leave rough work papers or side notes on work papers. Don't leave red, yellow colors on working papers, because internationally red color and yellow colors are problematic. If you have not defined your colors and you have colored certain cells as red and yellow, then it would be considered as problematic area. Don't keep ledger dumps in working files, as I have told you, because ledger dumps are not working papers or audit documentation. Confusing documents, superseded documents, don't keep them. Don't follow copy and paste approach. Means पिछले साल वाले ने यही किया था, मैं भी यही करूंगा. No. Apply your mind. Follow, this is how we did last year, again the same thing. Never state anything that you have not done. Sinful to misrepresent to your seniors. Okay, so I don't know how much of we believe in sins or not, but it is sinful to misrepresent to anyone, so don't misrepresent. So these are some do's and don'ts about working papers. Memos to checklist and so whenever you are having a checklist and you need to respond, so don't respond in yes, no or not applicable. give the reasons. If it is applicable, then why it is applicable. If you are saying it is not applicable, then particularly give reasons why it is not applicable. And if you are answering to a particular question in negative, that is no, so then mention why are you saying that it is no. So diligently complete the checklist, timely complete the checklist, must be completed by the senior member of the team. Detailed and clear responses. Don't provide vague justifications, because no one is there to buy. Everyone is a experienced chartered accountant, he can understand. So these are the things for when you are responding to checklists. These are the closure of issues. Obviously, we have already discussed. That is why I am not taking them in detail, because if you remember, then I have said if the senior has provided you comments, then close them properly. Don't keep them open. So all these things are there. What should be the workflow? Document as we do. So we have already discussed. Don't wait till tomorrow. Whatever you are doing today, document it today, because tomorrow may be a different situation and you might be too busy to document, and after 2-3 days you will definitely forget. And believe me, it is very humiliating that after 5-10 days you are coming back to the client and asking for that information which you have already sought for. Many times client might not say something, but if the client is fussy, then he can answer. He will definitely forward you the old mail stating that this mail has already been forwarded you on such and such date. So he is not saying you are a donkey. He is not saying that you are useless, but the implied meaning is this. When he is forwarding the mail with the caption that I have already forwarded this mail to you on so and so date, that it means he's saying, boss, you are unmanaged, you don't know your work properly. So don't create such situation. Try to document as you do. Step by step response to audit procedures means background, this, that. पहले अगर आपको BRS करनी, BRS प्रिपेयर करनी है तो BRS प्रिपेयर करो. आपको कंफर्मेशन, डायरेक्ट कंफर्मेशन भेजनी है तो कंफर्मेशन भेजो. डोंट कंक्लूड, डोंट जंप टू द कंक्लूजन. डू योर ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स पैशनेटली एंड रिलीजियसली. ऑन टाइम रिव्यू ऑफ प्लानिंग मीन्स अगर if you are planning something, so keep it reviewing. If you believe that there are certain new situations which are forcing you to change the planning, or which you are which are indicative of the fact that you cannot complete the work within the time frame allotted to you, so then raise red flags on time to your seniors or to the clients. Many times client is coming to you, boss, मैंने तो अपनी board meeting रख ली परसों की, I don't know how you will do it, and you have not received inventory yet, which is a very significant part of the balance sheet. But you cannot tell the client on 11th hour, boss, मुझे तो आज तक नहीं मिला. वो कहेगा ये तो यार क्या कर रहे हो इतने दिन से? You are sitting in my office since 15 days, enjoying my hospitality, and you are not telling me. Because many times the junior client staff is not interested to give you information on time, because if you get it on time, you will dig it, you will do surgery of it, and definitely no one wants his life miserable. तो वो क्या करेगा, वो आपको बोर्ड मीटिंग से 2 दिन पहले ही देगा. अब आपके हाथ पैर फूल चुके होते हैं, आपके पास टाइम नहीं होता है, आप जैसा जो दिया वही मान लेते हो. So try to raise red flags on times to resolve the issues. Perform procedures in line with the work program. Again, adhere to the audit program. Before sign off, complete all the work papers. Obviously, do not make it too late to review. Means what? If you are getting information late, so you will definitely work upon it very late in the 11th hour. So your seniors would not be having time to review it. And if you are the senior, then you would not be in position to review it, because now you need to work upon the financial statements, you need to prepare audit report. So तुम्हारे पास time ही नहीं है audit करने का. So what does it mean? That area may go unreviewed. On time archival of audit file. अब आपका जो SQC 1 है शायद, या यही वाला SA है 230, It says that every audit file must be completed and archived within 60 days of signing of the audit report. So complete the audit report and archive it. When we are saying archive means what? Send it to the store. Don't keep it with you because the audit is completed now. So within 60 days, complete it and store it appropriately. Audit files to be properly cross-referenced, indexed, handed over to the office admin for recording, definitely for their record purposes. So these are the workflow you need to follow in audit documentation. Now the ground rules. Documents as we do. It is very, very important. That is why it came thrice in this PPT. This is the third time I am discussing documents as we do. Work not documented is work not done. Clear objective will drive us to clear conclusion. If you know what you want to do with that area, or what do you want to audit in a particular financial statement area, if your objective is clear, then the conclusion would also be clear. Because it is said that if the intention are clear, results cannot be bad. Document must provide sufficient evidence to support your report or our report. Again, very, very important. So audit documentation is the base upon which your audit opinion is standing. So if you have issued unmodified audit report, and your working papers are indicating differently, then your life is in jeopardy. Either today or tomorrow, you will definitely face the heat if it comes back to you. So you have to document properly and you have to support your opinion very, very properly so that there would be no future problems. So now the queries, we are open to query. I am stopping the slide sharing and we are open for Q&A. There are 2 questions.
Yes, sir. Basically, I request attendees to ask their questions and question and answer.
So Mr. Vedyanathan has asked the question.
Yes.
For example, a company is in CIRP. Can the RP ask the auditor to share the audit file or working plan or papers? What should the right approach to be taken by the auditor when such requests come? Boss, it is a very, very, what should I say, gray area or ambiguity behind it. But in my personal opinion, and as per the intention of standards of auditing, a chartered accountant must share working papers or file with the resolution professional, because resolution professional has replaced the management and he has all rights upon on its consultants, auditors, whatsoever. However, Mr. Vedyanathan, I am repeating it again. The working papers are your property. As an auditor, working papers are your property. You might deny to share, but it is evident that in many cases, statutory authorities, have given decision in favor of RPs or any other, party in that matter, and auditor had to share its work papers. So, as per my understanding, if you feel that there isn't any confidentiality breach between you and your client, then you must share the work papers. And if you have different opinion, then you may not, but you must provide reasons to the RP or for that matter any other body, any other person, why you feel that you should not share working papers. You must provide reasons. Then Mr. Adesh Bora, what documentation to be maintained in case where there are divergent views among 2 partners of the audit firm and signing partner goes ahead with his viewpoints? So boss, this is a very, very common situation. In such cases, you must document the issue first. What is the issue? Then what are the views of 2 partners? And then if the signing partner goes ahead with his viewpoint, then he has to document the reasons why he is going ahead with his viewpoints. So he has to tell all the relevant literature, the relevant accounting standards, relevant guidance note whatsoever available to support his viewpoint. And if the firm has such a policy that if there is a difference of opinion between two partners, then third partner's opinion, who used to be the senior to both of them, would prevail. So if such a situation, then this also should be documented. So it is a very, very clear case that it must be documented, the issue must be documented, the different viewpoints must be documented, the pros and cons of both the viewpoints must be documented. And if you are going ahead with your viewpoint and you are the signing partner, then make a mention of the reasons of your decision.
Right. Perfect, sir. I hope attendees got their answers quite nicely. We had got a couple of questions and you, sir, answered them really very properly. So, thus we have reached to the end of this beautiful and informative VCM. It's time to have vote of thanks. Well, I today, CA Anirudh Rathi, take the opportunity to put my gratitude into words. The best and beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt by heart. And thank you is one of such prayers amongst them. So, on behalf of the ICAI Pune and all the members, I would like to extend my heartiest thanks to our honorable speaker, CA Praveen Kaushik sir, who gave his vital time from his busy schedule to grace this VCM. Thank you so much, sir, again, for enlightening us with your informative words and such a huge experience. I also thank CA Samir Ladha, Chairman and Treasurer of Pune ICAI, and also CA Kashinath Pathare, Vice Chairman and Secretary of Pune ICAI. Unfortunately, they could not, attend the meeting due to their busy and other meeting schedules. And of course, thanks to all the team members of Pune ICAI, and most importantly, all the attendees and participants to this VCM who have helped us in making this virtual CPE meeting organized by Pune branch of WRC of ICI to such a big successful meeting. Thus, I now conclude this session here. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Nirujji, and thank you to all the participants and fellow professionals to be very passionate listener. Thank you again.
Yes.
Namaskar.
Namaste.